Greetings commanders. I'm going to skip past all that bullshit exposition. We both know why you're here. FDev is changing engineering. Soon nobody will ever be mat poor again.
What do we do now? What do you mean? Now we can finally play the game.
You want to know which engineering mods are actually worth a damn? Buckle your pants and open Quarry Alice. It's theory crafting time. Core internals are required for any ship to operate. You cannot fly without these. Starting with the bulkheads, there are 5 kinds, but only 3 are worth using. If your ship needs to be fast or jump far, keep the lightweight bulkheads. If your ship needs to be strong, buy military grade bulkheads. Reinforced and reactive bulkheads are a scam. If you've embraced the cult of the funny hull, buy mirrored bulkheads. For lightweight and military grade bulkheads, the meta mod is heavy duty with deep plating. For mirrored bulkheads, if you are building a funny hull ship, it needs thermal resistant with reflective plating. More on this later. Ditch your basic FSD and grab an A-rated SCO. The meta mod for it is increased range with mass manager. This FSD works for every build in the game. PvP sweatlords who are too much of a crybaby to just eat the rebuy swear by shielded double braced. They usually get grommed. Thrusters are easy. There is only one choice. The meta mod for your A-rated thrusters is dirty drives with drag drives. Putting anything else on your thrusters is idiotic. If an AX pilot tries to convince you to put clean drives on your Mamba, tell them that Crimson is rooting for the Thargoids. If your small ship has size 2 or 3 thrusters, you should run enhanced performance thrusters, purchased directly from select engineers. These also need dirty drives, but with drive distributors instead of drag drives on the experimental. You should only buy A-rated power plants, but B-rated's fine, if you're making a hull tank. The meta mod is armored with thermal spread. This should be suitable for nearly every build or career path. Only rare and specialized PvP builds would use overcharged, and explorers sometimes run low emissions. Only buy A-rated power distributors. This is non-negotiable. The meta mod, for absolutely any build, is charge enhanced with super conduits. Recharge rate is far more important than capacitor size, and that applies to every capacitor. Putting anything else on a power distributor is extremely rare, and reserved for only specialized PvP builds. The first of 2 non-critical core internals, the life support is normally derated for mass savings. 7.5 minutes is plenty to get to a station, unless you have a serious skill issue. Engineering this module is optional. The meta mod is lightweight, but not beyond grade 3 for combat builds, or you risk melting it off from heat damage. The second of 2 non-critical core internals, the sensors are also D-rated for mass savings. Engineering the sensors is optional in most cases, but while non-combat ships would want to go with lightweight, combat ships may benefit from grade 3 long range. Grade 3 is a good sweet spot between sensor range and added mass. Wide angle is useless, don't fall for the meme. Optional internals are interchangeable, not optional. You should never fly with empty internal slots. When in doubt, add more hull reinforcement packages. Speaking of which, you should only be buying D-rated hull reinforcement packages. They are both lighter and stronger than E-rated HRPs for some idiotic reason. The meta mod is heavy duty with deep plating. This is all you'll need in most situations. If you're making a funny hull build, which requires the mirrored bulkheads from earlier and absolutely nothing but HRPs in your optional internals, you'll need about 60% of your HRPs to be kinetic resistant with deep plating, and the other 40% should be blast resistant with deep plating. I don't feel like explaining what this does, and FDev doesn't understand it either. Unless you're going down the funny hull route, every ship needs a shield generator. Standard blue shield generators are useful only on a ship that needs maximum shield strength at minimal hull mass. These would be explorers and racers. For these builds, the meta mod is enhanced low power with high cap. For most other situations, prismatic shields are your best bet. On these, the meta mod is reinforced with high cap. Bi-weave shields see some use in PvE and PvP, mostly on nimble mediums with solid hull numbers. The meta mod for bi-weaves is thermal resistant. The experimentals depend on the distributor size. If the power distributor is larger than the shield generator, use fast charge. If it is the same size as, or smaller than the shield generator, use slow draw. If you're expecting extended combat, you'll want to consider also equipping a shield cell bank. While B-rated banks have more cells, A-rated replenishes more of your shield in one shot. The meta mod for these is rapid charge with recycling cells. The faster they spin up, the less chance they'll get cancelled. Note that firing a bank generates a lot of heat, so you generally want one heatsink launcher per bank module. There are only a couple Guardian modules worth noting, and they cannot be engineered. The Guardian frame shift drive booster is used only on ships that need a high jump range, like explorers and taxis. The Guardian shield reinforcement package is commonly used by sweatlords. All other Guardian modules are useless, especially the core internal ones. Module reinforcement packages essentially act as a temporary bullet sponge against piercing damage for internal modules. No engineering is available on these, and they're useless in PvE, but equip 1 or 2 small MRPs on any PvP or anti-easy no build. Once again, the D-rated ones are both lighter and stronger than E-rated for some asinine reason. There are additional optional internal modules, but the important ones have already been covered. Utilities, like optional internals, are not optional. Do not leave your utility mounts empty. When in doubt, add more boosters. In fact, the majority of your utility mounts should be A-rated shield boosters. Explorers should run E-rated shield boosters, not D-rated, because E is lighter than D in this instance for some dim-witted reason. There are 3 kinds of shield boosters you should engineer. They have each been given nicknames by the community. The skill booster is heavy duty with supercapacitors. These boost your overall shield strength. The Resorg is resistance augmented with supercapacitors. This improves the shield's overall resistance. Finally, the thermal booster is thermal resistant with supercapacitors. These are used to fill the thermal hole. There is no exact science to shield boosters, but there is a good rule of thumb. Start with empty utility slots. If you have a prismatic or a blue shield, you'll want to equip 1 thermal booster and 1 Resorg. If you have a bi-weave, just equip 2 Resorgs. Now, fill the remainder of your free utility mounts with skill boosters. If you need to equip a heatsink or some other utility, remove a skill booster or 2 for it. As for these other utilities, you have some creative liberty. Heatsinks are extremely useful, especially if you have banks. The meta mod for the heatsink launcher is ammo capacity. If you're running funny hull and have no use for shield boosters, then fill your utilities with heatsinks. I often see people flying with point defense turrets and electronic countermeasures. I laugh as they do absolutely nothing against my plasma, frags, multis, lasers, cannons, and railguns, all of which see far more use than missiles. Do not fall for the meme. Just add more shield boosters. Chaff launchers can be useful sometimes, especially in PvE. The meta mod is ammo capacity. There's not much more to say about these, besides the fact that you really only need 1.
Baba Boy.
No matter what I do, this is going to be the most controversial part of this video. While most weapons have 1 or 2 true meta modifications, there are far too many valid combinations to simply ignore all possible modifications and experimentals. For the sake of my own sanity, I'm going to be doing this section a little differently. I have listed in this spreadsheet the most commonly used weapons. The ones marked damage should account for most of your hardpoints. The ones marked utility apply an effect which does not stack, so only 1 is needed. The ones marked meme should be used sparingly. These weapons are only for use in ship-to-ship combat. I do not care enough about anti-easy no to discuss it. Finally, listed in the description are links to several Quarialis builds, ranging across all career paths, designed and approved by veteran commanders. Now, it's time to get out there and grind mats for the last time ever. If I missed anything, feel free to cry about it in the comment section. Thanks for watching, fly fast, and fly mad.
Baba Boy.